Tonight's special segment, The Maneuver, the Heimlich maneuver. For decades, it's been known around the world as the first response to someone who's choking. Now the ABC7 I-team has new information about the Heimlich method, the doctor who made it famous, and an Illinois charity associated with Dr. Heimlich. Investigative reporter Chuck Goudie joining us with the story tonight. Chuck.
Kathy, the Heimlich has become a brand name like the Band-Aid. Dr. Henry Heimlich, who is best known as the inventor of the technique in which you stand behind a choking victim, wrap your arms around them, and pull sharply on their lower abdomen. Dr. Heimlich is medical advisor for a suburban Chicago charity called the Save a Life Foundation. Tonight, questions are being raised about both Heimlich and the founder of Save a Life, Carol Spizzirri.
I know exactly what to do. I've seen it in the movies. It's called the Heimlich maneuver.
The maneuver is so universally known that it is currently seen in a bank commercial, which was shown by Dr. Henry Heimlich during a recent speech to the U.S. Conference of Mayors. But the Heimlich hasn't always been the prescribed method of helping someone who is choking.
This child's choking to death.
As a country doctor in the movie Field of Dreams showed, back slaps were for decades the favored way to clear an airway blockage. And tonight, the I-team has learned that back slaps are back. The American Red Cross, the nation's leading first aid organization, no longer supports the use of the Heimlich maneuver as the initial response when someone begins choking. Last spring, in a surprisingly underpublicized change, the Red Cross mandated its instructors to teach several sharp slaps to the back when someone begins choking, which induces them to cough.
Hot dog.
Every 5 years, health and safety experts from around the world meet to evaluate the best practices in first aid, and we announced that we would be changing to our new updated guidelines in fall 2005, but began implementing them this spring.
Between bending forward and the back blows, good chance I'm going to catch it before it makes its descent and dislodge it.
The Red Cross recommends abdominal thrusts if the back slaps fail. That is the opposite of what the Save a Life Foundation teaches school children.
Your first instinct is going to be to smack him in the back. Don't do that.
We have trained this year alone in the Chicago Public Schools 67,000 children.
Carol Spizzirri is the founder of Save a Life. She claims to have a nursing degree and be a registered nurse, but state officials say their records show that neither is true. When we challenged her qualifications, Ms. Spizzirri walked out on our interview and has since declined numerous offers to supply evidence of her medical training and licensing. A Spizzirri spokesman did email us a statement fully supporting the Heimlich method, which is hardly surprising because Spizzirri enlisted Dr. Henry Heimlich, the maneuver's reputed founder, as the medical advisor of Save a Life. Dr. Henry Heimlich has rejected the Red Cross's downgrading of his maneuver for choking and continues to urge that it be used for other things as well, including drowning.
The Heimlich maneuver can drive the water out. The Heimlich maneuver will stop an asthma attack.
Heimlich also urges the maneuver be used on cystic fibrosis victims, all claims that have stunned the medical community and major medical organizations, which warn tonight that the use of the Heimlich maneuver in those situations could be fatal. The American Lung Association asked Chicago respiratory expert Dr. John Shannon to speak with us.
It shouldn't be used at all in asthma or in cystic fibrosis or any other chronic inflammation disorder in the lung passages. And so there's the possibility of making a person with asthma substantially worse.
Dr. Heimlich has spent his career here in Cincinnati, where the maneuver was introduced and promoted more than 30 years ago. We visited the impressive-sounding Heimlich Institute, which exists to promote Heimlich and his maneuver on the accounting floor of a Cincinnati hospital. We found this office with no one in it, the phone being answered by a machine.
Is there ever anybody here?
Dr. Heimlich comes in maybe once every 2 weeks.
The hospital that houses Heimlich's so-called institute did not answer the I-team's numerous requests for information about its relationship with Dr. Heimlich.
Dr. Heimlich, my name is Chuck Goudie.
The 86-year-old Heimlich asked the I-team for a list of questions about his relationship with Save a Life and the downgrading of his maneuver by the Red Cross.
Ms. Heimlich?
I personally delivered the letter to his Cincinnati condo and handed it to his wife. Heimlich has since refused a television interview. A public relations firm sent us this statement in which Heimlich says he became involved in Save a Life because he admired its mission and that his choking maneuver has saved thousands of lives. Heimlich says he hasn't actually practiced medicine for more than 30 years since leaving the Jewish hospital here, where he was chief of surgery. Neither the hospital nor Heimlich would disclose why they parted. He no longer has a medical license, but he and the Save a Life Foundation, where he is medical advisor, continue to advocate a wider use of the maneuver for drowning and asthma.
Methods that he is espousing have never been proven medically. There have never been correct controlled studies to show any of them work.
In a press release today, the Save a Life Foundation said in part that it stands by its excellent reputation as provider of first aid skills training and a good steward of the monies entrusted to us by taxpayers and private donors. Over the past 10 years, Save a Life says it has carefully documented its training of hundreds of thousands of children, K through 12, with many accounts of individual lives saved. As a result, in addition, Save a Life says it has been at the forefront of efforts to protect the Good Samaritan law and introduced legislation subsequently passed by the Illinois Senate to improve public safety by requiring all first responders receive training. So there is no confusion. The Save a Life Foundation that we have been investigating is not connected to Operation Save a Life, which is a fire and carbon monoxide safety effort by the Chicago Fire Department and ABC7. Ron, Kathy?
Thanks. Good story, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
A few lucky gamers have their hands